Here is your full, long, emotional, YouTube-style story, written in smooth paragraphs, no headings, powerful hook, and designed for a 40-minute video with deep emotions, clear pacing, and a strong inspirational ending. People would later say that everything changed in the span of 20 seconds, but for those who were there, it started with just one sentence, spoken in a cold tone and in a language most people in the room didn't even understand. Dieser Mann gehört nicht hierher. This man does not belong here. The billionaire CEO, Alina von Hartmann, didn't whisper it. She said it loud enough for people to hear and smile nervously, pretending they hadn't. Her heels clicked like the room itself was bowing to her authority. And the man she was talking about, the one she thought couldn't understand her, was the janitor, Daniel, a single father who had been sweeping quietly in the corner. The camera would catch the tension perfectly. The moment that hooks the viewer instantly, making them pause, lean closer, wanting to know what happens next. Because rather than lowering his head, rather than pretending not to understand, Daniel looked up, and what he said, softly, calmly, in flawless German, froze the entire boardroom. But that moment, it wasn't the beginning. To understand it, the viewers needed the whole story. Daniel had been working the night shift at Hartmann Industries for 7 months. The pay wasn't great, the hours were worse, but he needed it. His 8-year-old son, Leo, depended on him. Leo was bright, imaginative, and recovering from a spinal injury after a car accident that had taken his mother. Physiotherapy cost more than Daniel made in 3 months, but he refused to give up. Every night, after cleaning floors for 12 hours, he would go home and sit with Leo, encouraging him to move his legs, stretch his muscles, fight for strength he didn't believe he had. "Papa, when I grow up, I'll buy you a big house so you don't have to work all night," Leo would say. And Daniel would smile, even if he felt tears burn behind his eyes. "Just grow up strong, buddy. That's enough for me." But things had been getting harder. Bills piled up, overtime wasn't approved, and Leo's next treatment deadline was coming fast. Everything boiled down to one night, the night of the emergency board meeting. Daniel had been called to clean the upper floors, an area he normally wasn't allowed in. He didn't argue, he needed the hours. But he didn't know he'd walk straight into a storm. The CEO, Alina, was furious. Their new project had failed. Investors were threatening to pull out. And when she stormed out of the meeting room, she nearly collided with Daniel, who had been mopping quietly near the glass doors. She glared at him like he was dirt on her designer coat. "Move," she snapped. He apologized and stepped aside, but the board members were watching, and Alina felt their eyes on her. Anger mixed with pride. She needed to reassert control. She needed someone to crush. That's when she switched to German, believing Daniel couldn't understand. "Dieser Mann gehört nicht hierher. Wie kann I nichts in meinem Büro arbeiten? This man does not belong here. How can a nobody work in my office?" The board members chuckled awkwardly. Someone muttered, "He can't understand anyway." And the room tilted slightly as Daniel lifted his head. For the first time, his eyes hardened, not with anger, but with quiet dignity. In perfect, elegant German, he replied, "Wissen Sie, manchmal ist der Genige, den Sie einen niemand nennen, der Genige, der Ihnen am Ende eine Lektion erteilt." You know, sometimes the person you call a nobody is the one who ends up teaching you a lesson. The boardroom fell silent. A pen dropped. Someone gasped. A security guard blinked twice. Alina froze. Her confidence cracked into confusion. You speak German." She managed. Daniel nodded. "I lived in Munich for 8 years. I studied engineering there." The board exchanged looks. The janitor, an engineer. The moment pulled viewers deeper into the story, emotion, shock, tension. Alina tried to recover. "If that's true, then why are you doing this job?" Daniel took a breath, the kind that carries years of pain. "My wife got sick. Then the accident happened. I needed any job I could find. This was the only one that would hire me quickly. But I don't complain. I'm raising my son alone. And every honest job has dignity." His words pierced the room with more power than her billion-dollar title ever could. Something shifted in the faces around them, shame for some, respect for others. But the story didn't end there. 2 days later, Alina's daughter, 7-year-old Mia, was rushed into the building by a frantic nanny. She was having a panic attack, breathing too fast, trembling uncontrollably. And of all the people in the lobby, it was Daniel who noticed first. He dropped his cleaning cart and rushed over. Slow breaths. Look at me. You're safe, he whispered, calming her gently. He knew how. Leo had panic attacks after the accident. Daniel had learned every trick to soothe a terrified child's heart. Mia clung to him, calmed with him, trusted him. And when Alina arrived 10 minutes later, panicked and shaking, she found her daughter hugging the janitor she had humiliated. Mia pointed at Daniel and said, "Mommy, he helped me. Don't be mean to him." Alina's world cracked open. Humiliation is easy. Understanding is hard. Transformation is rare. That day, everything began to change. Alina sought Daniel out. She apologized, deeply, sincerely, without excuses. She asked about his life, his son, his struggles. She learned about Leo's therapy, the financial burden, the endless battles. And for the first time in years, she looked at an employee as a human being. Then, the twist that would make every viewer emotional. 2 weeks later, she called Daniel into her office. Not as a janitor. As a candidate. "I reviewed your academic records from Germany," she said softly. "You're overqualified for half the positions on my engineering team. I'd like to offer you a full-time engineering role, with full medical benefits for your son." Daniel froze. Not because of the job. Not because of the benefits. But because, for the first time since his life had fallen apart, someone believed in him again. He accepted, tears in his eyes. The final scenes of the video would show Daniel helping design a major project. Leo taking his first confident steps in therapy. Alina watching proudly, humbled by her own transformation. Mia hugging Leo, saying, "Your dad is a hero." And the story ends with the most powerful message, spoken in Daniel's voice. Never judge a person by their uniform. Some of the strongest warriors wear scars you'll never see. And sometimes, the richest heart belongs to the poorest man. Fade out.